Good morning. How's everybody doing? Oh my gosh, it's weird. I hear myself echoing. All right. We got a little small contingency of folks. Hopefully that will grow. How's everybody doing this morning?
Good.
Good. Okay, awesome. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get things kicked off here. Lisa, do you want to speak to Mega Camp since that's our starting screen here and just remind everyone?
Yeah, this is more just of a reminder. I know we talked about this last team meeting, September 15th through the 17th. Mega Camp is going to be completely virtual now. Details are still coming out. So there is a link to the registration page that I will send out via email after this meeting as well. So you guys can take a look at it. But $109 for Mega Camp is pretty phenomenal. So we just wanted to give you another reminder about that if you are thinking of attending Mega Camp this year.
Absolutely awesome. And I got an email yesterday, and I'll share it with Lisa. I want to say, Lisa, it might have a few more details, like maybe a link to some of the like sessions that they're putting together. So watch for that in the closed Facebook group later, guys. We'll make sure that we, update you with the information as we get it. I honestly, I haven't had a chance to read through it yet. I just briefly saw it this morning as I was going through my emails. So I'm excited about that. It'll be interesting. Normally we're hopping on planes, for Mega Camp and heading to Austin. So it will definitely be different from that perspective, but it's going to be chock full of really awesome information about just the current state of the real estate market, as well as, tips for you guys and your businesses and what everyone can be doing right now to kind of help insulate their business as we go into potentially a second wave of this pandemic. So good stuff. All right, bucket fills. You guys know this is one of my favorite parts and a good way to kick off the team meeting. Just take a minute to think about anyone that you just want to shout out and share. Feel free.
I want to give Grady Ryder a shout out.
Yeah.
He was at my open house with me on Saturday, and he just did a great job of greeting people and helping out, and he's just a natural. So Grady, thank you so much. We were really busy and I couldn't have done it without him.
Yay, and thank you, Sarah.
No problem.
I learned a lot too. It was great. Sarah's awesome at what she does.
That she is. And it would be remiss of me not to say thank you to, our agents who, like Sarah, are willing to give of their time for our newbies. They're hungry for some mentoring and shadowing. So anytime you guys, feel moved to invite or allow one of them to either shadow you at an open house like Sarah did, or on a listing appointment or a closing or buyer representation. It may seem very elementary to you, the experienced agent, because you've been doing it for a while, but it means so much to those newbies and they remember it. I remember 18 years ago, the agents who stopped and took time with me. And, I'm forever grateful for their willingness to do so. And I have this strange loyalty towards those agents, like when I show their listings and they show mine, and it's just like forever emblazoned in my mind that, there was someone who I looked up to that had been in real estate for a while that was willing to spend time on little old me. So it's one of the things that makes our culture so amazing here. And it certainly doesn't go unnoticed by me when I see you guys raising your hand and providing that opportunities to our newbies. And, I think I can speak for them in that I know that it goes a long way with them too. So thank you. Thank you. That's my bucket fill. What else we got? Any others? Okay, I'll let you guys think about it. Feel free to, we have some stuff in the chat room. Maybe throw it in the chat room. Okay, true story. Thanks, Sarah. Love it. All right, so I'm excited to share that we brought on 5 new agents in the month of July. Can you guys believe it's August already? It's crazy.
No.
August 4th. I know, Megan. Can we just like rewind 60 days? I want to go back to June 1st because I feel like, our summer is just starting. But with this summer, we've had some tremendous growth, which is super exciting. And Grady is was one of our newbies for the month of July. So we announced Grady and Tom Prouty earlier this month. And today we're announcing Jamie Anderson, Tyler McConaughey, and do we have one more? And Caleb Pearson, who is going to be, who has joined the Black Swan team. So he was a referral or a lead sent to us from Nick. And I should give a shout out. So awesome. Congrats, Nick, on adding someone to your downline. And then Tyler was sent to us by Nellie Dettinger. If some of you remember Nellie, she used to be an agent with our office. She sent us Tyler. So it's always fun for us when, we can help our agents, build that additional revenue stream for themselves through profit share. And then Jamie is a transfer agent to us from the Eagan Keller Williams Market Center. She is going to be out of the Onalaska office, and she just relocated. So she wanted to stick, and stay within the Keller Williams family. So we're super excited that she decided to do that and partner with us. So if you see them, we're not, unfortunately seeing a ton of people live and in person these days, but give them a shout out on Facebook or, if you have the chance. So, all right. And look at these lovely ladies, these gorgeous ladies. We have two phenomenal agents who both capped this week. So Miss Cindy Hughes, well, actually Cindy capped last week, I think it was. Miss Cindy Hughes and Sarah Vicks. Congrats, way to go, ladies. Super excited for you guys. I don't think Cindy's on here. Let me check. No. Sarah, I'm gonna just toot your horn for a little bit. Make you maybe a little uncomfortable, but like I am so proud of you. I knew when I met you just a little over a year ago that you were just absolutely going to crush this business, and you have. I mean, sometimes I'll have feelings about people, and usually they'll come to fruition, but not always. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that you would be capping very, very quickly, and to be able to do that within your first year is such an incredible feat. So kudos to you. Thanks for always being an awesome leader and example in the office and pouring into others. So super, super proud of you and really excited about where you're going.
Well, thanks. I could not do it without the support of our market center and the great people around me. Lori Mangan, I got to shadow her for months and months and months, and I still get to. And the rest of the market center, it's a great support system. So thank you for letting me plug into it all. I appreciate it.
Yes, it takes a village, right? It takes a village.
Yeah.
Thank you for plugging in.
Yeah, and thank you to agents like Lori who are also awesome, support people who can help, provide a platform or extra support in addition to the leadership team for people like Sarah. So kudos to all of you guys. You guys are amazing.
Thank you.
All right, Lisa, take her away.
So Bold Pivot does start today. It's not too late to sign up if you're thinking that you still want to participate. There's some fun little stats there from May Bold Pivot based on the agents that took part in that training. It is a little bit different. So they've, taken all of the feedback that you guys gave them as far as the things that you thought didn't work so well with the initial Bold Pivot and restructured it. And, they listened to that feedback. So just another plug. We just wanted to remind you, it was in here from last week, so I kept it in. Whoops. Okay, coming soon buyer needs. I did clear these out, so we don't have a ton for this week's meeting. So we'll just go over the few that are here, and then if anybody has any others that they'd like to add, we'll turn it over to you. So looks like mid-August, the Qs have a property on Lloyd Street. It's a 4-2 split, decent updates, great curb appeal, nice deck, fenced yard. Sarah, I'll let you speak to your one on 26th Street. Is that one still?
Yeah,
coming?
yep, that one will list in the next week or 10 days. It's in a great neighborhood, Elton Hills area. Um, it's not in pristine condition, but it's definitely move-in ready. The whole main floor has hardwood floors. It's got 3 bedrooms on one floor, a beautiful yard, oversized 2-car garage. Just, it's a nice little place.
Awesome. Anybody else have any other coming soon? That one up there from Lauren, I think is from the last time, so that may or may not be applicable. So reach out to her if it sounds like that might be something that you would have a buyer interested in. But anybody else?
Yes, I
Ooh.
have 3 of them.
Man, bringing the fire. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
You.
One of them is probably going to list in a couple weeks. It's 3 acres. It's in Zumbro Falls on Ryans Bay Road. It's 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom. It's a cool house. It's an A-frame house. Could be a hobby farm. They have had horses there. And it's got a 1-car attached garage, but then a 3-car detached. And it's probably going to be around $450.
Wow, that sounds like a really nice one, Lori.
It's really cool. It's an A-frame, and I sold it to him, I don't know, 15 years ago. Tons of updates.
Okay.
Then another one, probably in 4 to 6 weeks. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. It's in Rochester. Probably list for $330. Also has has some updates, all new carpeting, fresh paint, and the basement is what's taking a while. It's completely finished, so it's like brand new.
Okay, awesome. Looks like Lisa's adding it in as you speak. It's like magic. Did you have another one?
Yeah, it's in Elton Hills. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it's got a sunroom, or I'd say probably a 4-season porch / sunroom, whatever you want to call it. Freshly painted, and that'll be about $225.
Love it.
And that should be in about 2 weeks.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Thanks, Lori. Those sound like pretty amazing listings coming on.
Yeah.
You've been busy.
Anybody else coming soon?
I have one that's coming soon today. It's going into coming soon. It's going to be active next on the 13th. It's 4-bed, 2-bath in Spring Valley, 3-car garage for $239,900.
Oh, that'll fly off the market, I bet.
Yeah, it's a nice house. It's a nice house.
$239,900, is that what you said, Deb?
I think so.
Okay.
I'll double check that. I just sent it to Christina.
Hey, Lisa,
Mm-hmm.
can you add 3 acres to the Zumbro Falls house?
Yep.
Awesome. Any others, guys, while we're on it? Otherwise, we'll switch to buyer needs. All righty. We'll let Lisa finish
Okay.
typing the 3
Buyer
acres.
needs.
Okay.
Lots of ongoing needs on here too. I think this one of Becky's was on last time. So anybody that has a buyer need, just go feel free to spout it out.
No buyer needs?
I have a buyer need.
Okay.
I need a single family home somewhere between Byron and Pine Island. Hopefully a little bit of an oversized lot, and for sure needs 2-car garage, and between 200 and 2.25. 3 bedrooms, preferably 2 baths.
Sarah, when do they need to be in it?
They're being patient. Actually, that's 2. Yeah, 200 to 225. That's
Well,
why.
thanks, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. They're being patient. I mean, if they can find the right place, you know, it doesn't have to be immediately, but they could be immediately. They're renting, so they don't have to sell anything.
Come talk to you.
Oh, good. Thank you, Deb. And they're not afraid of a little elbow grease. They've got skills, so they're not worried about a fixer-upper. Although they are FHA financing, so that's a catch-22 there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I still have a buyer need there.
Touche. Touche.
Uh-huh.
Any other buyer needs?
I do.
Okay, I was gonna say, I know there's gotta be a bunch because everyone's running into the same thing, not enough inventory. So we've got this plethora of buyers and no homes.
This one is 350 to 575. Preferably north Rochester, in Orinoco.
Keep talking. I'm listening.
No, that's bothering me, so.
Okay.
4 bedroom, minimum of 4 bedroom, 3 bath, plus an office. So it could even be 5 bedroom, but they need an office. It can be any style. Year 2005 plus.
Awesome. Any others?
I want to put a shout out for a great listing I have that needs some attention from real estate agents, not attention like work done. It's a walkout ranch. It's got over 3,400 finished square feet, 4 bedrooms plus an office, main floor living, beautiful views. It's in Southern Hills, and it's on just shy of an acre lot with privacy and views, and it's built in 1998, so it has had many updates, and the mechanicals have all been updated recently. So it's a good house. It's listed at $485,000.
Anybody have a buyer for that?
Bring one. Bring one.
Are you holding it open, Sarah?
We had an open house last week that had a lot of traffic, and I'm going to check with my buyer tomorrow to see what she wants to do.
Okay. All right. Okay, moving right along. What do we have next, Lisa? I don't remember. Training calendar. Okay.
So here's the next couple weeks of the classes that we're running here still virtually for the month of August. We're still going to continue to run our classes virtually. So one of the, we've tried to reorganize things a little bit here. So if you're a newer agent with us, a lot of your core classes are going to be on Mondays and Thursdays, and those are going to be in green. There is a new class that we've added this month that we're really excited about. It's called Script Mastery with Erin, and it's going to run Mondays from 10 to 10:30. And it's all about scripting and when you're picking up the phone, what you should be leading with, you know, what you should be saying, what you should be talking about, what you shouldn't be talking about. You don't want to come off as salesy, right? Just those natural scripts coming from contribution, things like that. So Erin's going to do those classes, just a quick half hour on Mondays, and we will record those and put those on the closed Facebook group as well if you're not able to attend. If you did sign up for Bold Pivot, we did include that on here so that you can easily find that schedule as well. Erin is running an open house class tomorrow from 11 to noon. That's been a popular one. Erin, do you want to just speak really quickly about what you'll go over in that class?
Sure. So, I think most of you know, when I first got into this 18 years ago, I was brand new to Minnesota, didn't have a sphere at all. And so the one thing that I chose to focus on was open houses. And I was horrible at them in the beginning. I did like all the wrong things, but I had to go through that process in order to learn what not to do and what does work. So I always look at open houses as what I call the low-hanging fruit, for lack of a better term. It's a really great way to pick up business quickly. And so I just go through like step by step the program that I kind of have adapted, which isn't necessarily, you know, the best thing out there, but it works for me. And I guess what I'm trying to say is if I could get busy and build a business pretty quickly through open houses, anyone can. It's not rocket science. It's just taking the time to invest a little bit of time up front in order to make sure that you get the absolute best you can out of your time doing open houses.
Awesome.
So,
thank you.
Look at you guys there if you want to join me.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin. On Thursday, Kelly DeMail is teaching a class, Don't Give Up Your Commission. I don't think Kelly is on with us today, so, you know, I won't have her speak to that, but that sounds like an exciting class that, you know, if I were a new agent or even an experienced agent, I would want to attend. So, and then some new classes that we've added in other locations. So Faribault is holding a team meeting. We wanted to put that on here so that we could all track it. And then in Wisconsin, our Wisconsin broker, Julie Neitzel, is doing contract coaching every Monday from 1 to 2. So, you know, we wanted to put that on here as well. Otherwise, you know, you're going to see a lot of the core classes, goal setting and budgets with Katie, and of course our What the Tech on Friday. So I did put out a message in the closed Facebook group asking what you guys wanted to learn about within Command. And so I'm trying to tailor that Friday What the Tech class more towards what you guys want to know. They're not super well attended, and I realize that Friday is kind of a tricky day, and but you know, I just want to make sure that that class is valuable for you guys and that we're giving you the information that you're looking for, not just information that we think you want. So feel free at any time if you are, and really not only with Command, but just the technology that you're using, you know, with the MLS and those third-party vendors as well. Just let me know and we can always add a class in there too. So.
Guys, we're always open to suggestions for classes. Like there was a request for me to do my open house class again, so we got it on the calendar. So if there is a particular topic that you feel would be, you know, a great one, or, you know, you would like to see, let us know. Chances are we also too may have already a class recorded on that very topic. So we can either look at putting it on a future training calendar, or we can point you in the direction of the resource where we perhaps are already housing a video on the topic that you want to learn more about.
Perfect. Thanks, Erin. Tech tip, really quickly, I don't want to talk about anything super specific, but I will say that if you are wanting to learn more about what Command in particular can do for you, there are a multitude of resources, not only within, you know, our region and our market center, but there's closed Facebook groups and there's YouTube channels. So a couple of different YouTube channels that are a couple different YouTubers, I guess I could say, that I follow are Marty Miller and Lori Ballin. They're great trainers, and Nick Baldwin too. They're all great trainers, and they do a wonderful job just pushing out short few-minute videos on different things that Command can do. So if you haven't plugged into those resources, or you haven't gone out to look for them, I would just suggest that you do, because that's there's just a lot of training there that exists, outside of the walls of the market center. So just wanted to give a quick plug for that. And Erin, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, so wanted to visit with you guys a little bit about what seems to be on a lot of our minds right now is you guys, what you want me, I'm hearing some feedback. You just want to make sure you're muted unless you want to speak or have a question. Thanks. So what I'm hearing a lot of, what I know that my team is feeling right now is there's shortage of listings. We have one buyer right now that I think Steve has written 6 offers for. And we're pulling out all the stops. We're doing the escalations. We're doing the no inspection. We're doing the have the lender call. We're doing the, all kinds of stuff. So despite that, we're short inventory. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about maybe some things that I'm hearing. Would love to hear from you guys on things that either you're experiencing or you're hearing, but just spend a little bit of time talking about, being focused as this pandemic grows, right? And I'm certainly not an alarmist by any means, but I follow the news just like everyone else, right? And no one has that proverbial crystal ball, so we can't predict what's to come in the future. However, there is talk of this second wave. And I hopped on the Winona team meeting earlier this morning and had this same conversation. So, when it hit this year, it hit at a time where we were just getting into our busy time of the year. Thank the Lord, right? Because even despite the many challenges that a lot of businesses faced, that a lot of buyers and sellers faced, that a lot of real estate agents faced, there were a lot of us that were able to still, thankfully, remain busy. And I think a lot of that had to do with the time of year, right? We're going into busy time of year. Should this second wave that they're talking about hit, even if it's more mild than the first, it's likely going to hit during our slowest time of the year, right? We're talking December, January, February. So if there's anything that I want to impart upon you guys today is spend time now insulating your businesses. Take the time now to start preparing just in case. If it doesn't come, great. You're still going to put yourself in a really nice position. If it does come, it could be the difference between you staying in the business or getting out of the business, right? Because at the end of the day, we've got to be bringing home money. We've got to put table on the food and take care of our families. So I think the key to that is focusing on listing inventory. So, as the inventory is shrinking, we need to make sure that we're taking absolutely every step we can as agents to win listings that have the potential, to not only hit the market, but to sell. So the first thing that I'm always going to say, I'm always going to start with when it comes to lead generation and or looking for listings is those who need more listings should always start with their sphere of influence. Always, always, always start with your sphere. So, I think what would be good is for you to ask yourself, do you really truly feel as though you've tapped out your sphere? You've called everyone, not just once and they didn't answer, that doesn't count, right? If you call them and they don't answer, that doesn't count. Have you had a conversation or have you had actual communication with every single person in your sphere of influence? Start there, right? Because those are the conversations that are going to get you the business the fastest, because people want to do business with people who they know, like, and trust, right? So start with your sphere. The second thing that I'm reading a lot about lately, and I can post an article. I want to say that there was an article that I read yesterday. I'll find it and I'll post it in the closed Facebook group. There are a lot of people in forbearance right now or going into forbearance. So we're hearing and having conversations more and more about foreclosures and short sales again, right? And I mean, the last time that tsunami hit was back in 07, 8, 9, 10, all the way through 11. The hope is that should that return, it's not going to be to the degree that it was previously. However, with that being said, I think it would be remiss of you not to consider reaching out to folks. And there are a variety of different ways that you can get creative with this, but finding out who those people are. You know, maybe you don't have a list that consists of people that are in forbearance, but we do have tools at our disposal that would allow us to get creative and use social media as a way to create some sort of outreach and create your own list. You can, you know, run a boosted Facebook ad with something that's not necessarily targeted at forbearance or foreclosure, but it could be a message that's as simple as, what is your home worth, right? That seems extremely simplistic, but think about putting yourself in the shoes of someone who might be struggling right now, someone who may have lost their job, or, you know, have just been put in a position where they can no longer work, or they're choosing not to because they're, you know, in a state of fear going out and, you know, getting COVID. So, you know, if you saw something hit your social media feed or page that said, what is your home was worth, and you have something that's been weighing on you, like, maybe I should think about selling my house, might you click on that? Maybe, right? So I guess the message I'm trying to send is, like, be creative. Put yourself in the shoes of someone who might be struggling. Maybe you were that person struggling at one time. I think we can all say that we've been in that position at some point in our lives. Like, what were your thoughts, and what's something that you think might have drawn you in to raise your hand and ask a question, or say, hey, I would like to talk to somebody. You can also use geographic information to reach out and target your messaging, to keep your communication, like, local to your audience area, and target areas that you want to work in. You guys all should know that you can, you know, do that within Command as well. And then I am also still a really big proponent of, I think sending direct mail is still very effective. And I know that there's several of you, and again, I think you're one of them. Sarah, I think you might be one, that still does direct mail, whether it's a just listed, just sold, have a buyer looking in your neighborhood. You know, I mean, we have an unlimited amount of topics in real estate that we can create marketing pieces around, that we can structure conversations around, that we can strategize around. So just get creative. But I really feel like the #1 group to target right now for listings are those folks who are potentially going into forbearance, or the other one that Jay Papazan recently shared was non-owner occupied properties. Those are people who own a home in a market but don't necessarily live in that market. And they might be experiencing anxiety like the rest of us during this pandemic, in terms of maybe having to travel to go and manage their property. And so, you know, he mentioned that he felt that those are some of the highest converting properties right now. Thoughts? I'll stop talking now. I'm curious to hear what you guys are seeing, what your thoughts are, if anyone is doing some of this already.
How do you find those properties?
Great question. So I have been, you guys have probably noticed this before, those of you who have been in the business a while. Sometimes if I'm doing a CMA or a search and I'm looking at the tax property record, sometimes I will notice that the owner is listed and their home address or their mailing address is different from the property that I'm looking at. So that's a good indication that potentially they're non-owner occupied, or, you know, that it's a property that they have a renter in, or something along those lines. So that's going to be more laborious, Lori, right? Like search and find, you're looking for that needle in the haystack. But that doesn't cost you anything but your time. So for the people that have time and they don't have money to throw at maybe a resource, I am certain, I can't tell you the name of a resource, but I would venture to say that if you went into any of the multitude of Keller Williams closed Facebook groups and said, hey, does anyone have a great resource to find non-owner occupied homes? You'd probably have half a dozen people that list like Red X or Vulcan 7 or, you know, whatever. I'm not saying that those are, but things like that, right? So I am certain that tools exist that you can purchase and pay a subscription to find properties like that. And then the other way is the good old fashioned way of just like hitting the streets and beating the bushes, right? Networking with your people, have those conversations. You know, we are going to be made aware of those sorts of things coming typically well before the general public. So if you're the one who in your circle of friends or in your networks that begins to have this conversation now, and even a month from now, it starts to hit the news, then don't you think the people who have been listening to you for the last month are going to look at you like, huh, you know, Estella really knew what she was talking about. She's been talking about this for the last month. She must really know her stuff. You know what? Maybe in fact I do know someone, or maybe in fact I do have a property. I should call her. You want to be looked at as, you know, the expert and the person that is keeping their finger on the pulse, so to speak. What else? What other questions or thoughts or things that you guys are coming across? I think we are venturing into a new arena whereby I'll always believe in the tried and true forms of lead generation, right? Because those never fail us when you're doing them consistently, right? Like the open houses, the direct mailers, the calling of your sphere, the 36 touches. I'm always going to be a huge proponent of those. However, I think we're venturing into a new arena that is going to force us to become more creative. And, you know, the good news is at Keller Williams, you know, locally, regionally, nationally, and around the world, we're already having these conversations. And some of these conversations are already being had at a really high level. So, you know, pay attention to the emails that you get from Keller Williams International. Pay attention to the news, you know, be informed. Make sure that you're keeping your finger on the pulse so that, number one, you're prepared. And number two, when these topics come up in your networking events or from your friends or from your family, you can speak to them with some authority. Thoughts, questions, challenges, what are you guys seeing? Is this resonating with you guys at all, or have I lost you?
I'm learning a lot. Keep going.
Thank you, Grady. I just want to make sure y'all are alive out there still. I certainly hope I am not coming across as doom and gloom, guys, and that I'm making you nervous or scaring you. I want you guys to continue to succeed at a high level, and a lot of you are right now. My goodness, our numbers, when you look at our lore, are insane compared to the rest of the market. I mean, you guys are just, you're amazing. But I also don't think that it's time for us to rest on our laurels, and we really need to be beefing things up for whether or not the second wave comes or not. You're going to benefit, right, from being extremely focused and consistent in your lead generation and trying to find listings. So there were a couple other housekeeping items that I was going to speak to, unless you guys want me to talk any more on this or have any more input that you want to share. Anybody? Crickets. Okay.
I did have a question. On your open house training tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to make it. Is that going to be recorded, or is it already recorded?
I think both. It's going to be recorded, and I think it's already recorded. Right, Lisa? Right? You're muted. You're muted.
So it is not recorded, but we will record it and we'll put it on the closed Facebook group.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Grady. Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, couple things I want to touch on, guys. Because of the market that we're in right now, with listings flying off the market, multiple offers everywhere, around every corner. I just want to make sure that we are always putting our clients first, right? So our fiduciary responsibility is to our seller. Remind everyone, and I'm not sharing this or coming from a place where I want you guys to feel as though I'm speaking down to people, because certainly there are agents on here that are very seasoned, that are very experienced, but we also have new agents on here. So I'm speaking to everyone, okay? We never want to find ourselves in the position of playing gatekeeper, right? So if you have a listing and you have multiple offers, whose decision is it as to whether or not we disclose the existence of multiple offers?
The seller.
The seller, right? It's the seller. In fact, we have them sign on the listing agreement whether or not, is it the listing agreement? There's a document. Whether or not they do give us permission or do not give us permission to share the existence when multiple offers exist, correct? So we are not the gatekeeper when it comes to that. And here's what I will tell you, having served on the Professional Standards Committee for years, being to dozens of arbitration hearings, you do not want to get pulled before one. And what I will tell you is, when we are in a market like the one we're in right now, agents get upset when their offers aren't accepted, whether they have reason to or not, right? I would like to think if we don't get the offer, the way that we're going to conduct ourselves is, if we've put our best foot forward, gosh darn it, we missed out on it, on to the next, right? But I also know that in these times, agents can get extremely frustrated, and sometimes they take it out on one another, right? And the last thing we want, the last thing that you want, because it happens, is someone to file a complaint because they feel as though maybe their offer wasn't presented, or they should have gotten the house and they didn't. A lot of times those complaints are misguided, and that's shook out during an arbitration hearing. But like, do you really want to even go there? I don't. They're uncomfortable, they're not fun, they're anxiety inducing. So I just want to make sure that we're all operating from that perspective, that the newbies understand that when we get multiple offers, you should be having that conversation with the seller when you list the property. Are we going to disclose it or aren't we? And then if that does present itself, have that conversation again. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you remember when we signed listing contracts, I asked you whether or not you wanted me to disclose the existence of multiple offers? Well, we have them. Just want to make sure, is that still how you feel? Okay. And then the other thing is, we want to make sure that we're treating all parties fairly. So I am going to recommend, when you're in those multiple offer situations and you're the listing agent, communicate via email, because it can get really confusing very quickly when you've got 6 or 8 offers on a home and you're having 6 or 8 conversations, or some of the agents you're texting, some you're emailing, some you're talking to on the phone. It gets to the point to where you don't remember who you countered, what their last counter was, and that whole rigmarole. So when you find yourself in that situation, I would recommend that you operate from a very organized fashion. Already know what your strategy is ahead of time. It likely should involve calling, if your sellers do want you to disclose that there's multiples, it's likely calling a best and highest day and time. I would recommend updating the comments in the agent section of MLS also, because even putting forth your best effort and updating agent comments and emailing people and letting them know, hey, best and highest is due Friday by 5 p.m. You will always have that one agent who says, well, it would have been nice for us to be able to put in an offer. And then you can go back and refer to, you know what, you should have checked agent comments on MLS. And oh, by the way, I sent you an email Friday at 2 o'clock making you aware of the deadline. That's why I'm a fan of emails as well, is I always look at it as I'm building a case in case anyone gets upset and wants to cry foul, right? So I just think that we need to add that extra layer of caution, and always make sure that, you don't have a fully accepted offer until it's fully executed and delivered to all parties, right? Everyone knows that, correct? So if you have an offer that comes in, even if you have a verbal with the seller and they've accepted it, if another offer comes in before that's signed, sealed, and delivered to all parties, what should you do? You want me to repeat that question? If you have a listing and you have multiple offers and the seller, and you presented the offers and the seller has selected one verbally and you're just waiting on signatures, for example, and let's just say it's Friday night, you come to a verbal and you can't get signatures until Saturday, and Saturday morning another offer comes in, what are you supposed to do? What should you do?
Still tell the seller that you got
Yes.
another offer, a signed offer.
Right. Like, we have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we're informing the seller that another offer has come in. And why is that, Estella? Why is that?
Because that one's already signed.
Because the other one's not signed yet, right?
They could back out.
Right. I mean, and even if you have, let's just say it's signed, but it hasn't been yet delivered to all parties, we still have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that we make our seller aware of the existence of that offer, right? Because imagine if they found out about it after the fact and that other offer was for more. You just
Well, it's kind of funny that you're saying that, because one of the properties that I had, we actually submitted the offer without even seeing the home, and they actually accepted the offer. And even though we had already filled out the paperwork and everything, I noticed that even though we were already in contingency, she was still getting offers on the property just in case we fell through or something. And I mean, till day of closing, she was still getting offers on that property. So, so yeah.
Once it's fully executed, we certainly can, you know, receive and hold on to backup offers. Absolutely. But if you guys haven't been through that before and you find yourself in a multiple offer situation and you're not quite sure how to proceed, please, you know, reach out to Jackie. She's our broker. If Jackie's not available, I am always willing to walk you through that process. Don't try and go it alone and figure it out on your own, because, I mean, we are dealing with legally binding contracts, guys, that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the last thing you want is to be brought before an arbitration panel and accused of something because it was either mishandled or you don't have proof to back up that it was handled appropriately. Does that make sense? Okay, awesome. Any questions on that before I move on to my last item that I want to talk about? No? Okay. So we're seeing the office, meaning we're seeing more and more withhelds happening, which you guys can do. But I want to make sure that you understand when you have a client sign a withheld. And for those of you who don't know what that is, I guess I should probably start there. So you go on a listing appointment and the seller has decided to list with you, but they're not quite ready yet. Maybe they're going to put on a new roof, or they're going to put in new carpet, or, you know, whatever the case may be. But you want to lock them down. I suggest you do. You want to get them signed and under contract. Well, you guys all know we have to turn that in within how many days to MLS? A standard listing contract. How many do we have? Who knows the answer?
2 business days, or is that when it goes live?
Our newbie, yay, I love it. So you have 2 days to turn it in. Yes, Grady. Even with withhelds, I think there are some people under the impression that withheld means like completely withheld. It still has to be turned in, and it is still has to be entered into MLS. It just means it doesn't go active. So other people aren't going to see it. But if you sign a withheld, that still has to be turned into the office, and the office is still obligated to place that into MLS into a withheld status. So make sure that if you're going to start doing things that you're really not familiar with, or that you haven't done before, or that you don't do very often, that you're asking, you know, Christina or Lisa or Katie or me what the proper procedure is for that, so that we can help you guys avoid getting a fine or finding yourself in hot water.
I think that would be a good class, because this is the first that I'm listening to of withheld.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even heard of holding on to it like you had just said. So to me, I think that would be a first, maybe mini class that we could probably hold, since
Okay, awesome.
I was not aware of that.
Got that down. And maybe what we'll talk about in that withheld class, Lisa, is also temporarily not available for showings. So we'll get it on the calendar, Stella. Thank you for
Thanks.
that
So
suggestion.
what's the difference? Yeah, this is new to me too. So sometimes I get the listing agreement, it's dated the date we completed it, but then the actual list date is a couple weeks out. And I have Christina enter it in MLS, but it's incomplete. And I know you have like, it's either 14 days or 21 days to complete it in there. What's the difference between withheld and incomplete?
Yeah, I would consider doing a withheld in that scenario instead, Sarah, because
Okay.
you may have, you know, you may have a signed listing contract, but if the listing date doesn't start for 2 or 3 weeks out, there is
Yeah.
potential for someone to come in and find out that the house is for sale and go to the seller and try and get it sold prior to that listing contract started.
Okay.
Highly unusual that that would happen, but it's possible. So I personally, I would be more a fan of signing a listing contract and doing a withheld because that completely locks it down. And then when they're ready to go live or active, then we just kick it active. There's
Good to
also,
know.
yeah,
Especially now that there's a shortage of listings.
right. There is a graphic that I posted, I don't know, it's been a while, that talked about the differences and the do's and don'ts of TNAS, withheld, and it had some other things on there. Lisa, do you know what graphic I'm talking about?
Yep. Hold on one second.
I posted it in the post, and there were a lot of
Yeah.
people like, wow, like, thank you for posting this. This makes so much sense. I never realized it. So we will find that. We will locate that, and I'll have Lisa post it again. That will be very helpful. I would say print that out and keep it somewhere visually, you know, where you guys can refer to it so that you don't have to search and find in Facebook. But I would say that is a really excellent tool that even I myself am now intending, as I'm saying it out loud, to print and keep with me, because it does a very nice job of breaking that down in a simple way as to the do's and don'ts and when this applies and when that doesn't apply. So watch for that. We'll repost it, and then we'll definitely add a class on that to help you guys out with sort of distinguishing between the differences.
Just a note to the people who were in my prep to list class. This is contrary to what I told you that day. We were talking about getting all that listing data in and having it entered and marked incomplete. So Grady and Estella, take note of that.
Well, Sarah, you can do that too. I want you to know that what you're doing is okay. It just leaves that little tiny window open.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, but we shouldn't leave that little window open.
Yeah, I like the way you think.
Oh, good to know. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes it is little things like that that I forget to share with people that can make all the difference, right? And so I'll commit to, as I think about those things, making notes to, okay, you know what, this is something that we should bring up at a team meeting, just a little nugget to share with people that, you know, could make a difference. So what else? We have just like 3 minutes left here. Anything else that's on your guys' mind that you have a question about, that you want to talk about? How are things going out there? You guys feeling good? Keeping busy? Yeah? All right. Well, with that, I don't think we have a vendor partner that's going to talk today. So I'm going to cut you guys just a few minutes. I'm going to cut you loose just a few minutes early. Again, we've got that open house class tomorrow if you guys want to hop on and join. If you happen to be in the Market Center, we're getting ready to sign a new agent. I think she's coming in at noon. If you're walking around, please pop in, say hi, welcome her aboard. Other than that, have an amazing day. It looks like the weather's beautiful. It almost felt like fall last night to me when I was sitting out on the deck. I'm like, no, I'm not ready for fall yet, but I love the beautiful weather. So thanks for plugging in, guys, and tuning in.